Fast Lawyer VR reviews. For sexy VR reviews, hit the subscribe button. Today we're reviewing Townscaper VR, a game released on the Oculus Store and also for Pico. Today, October 6, 2022. It normally retails for $10. I bought it at that price. Townscaper VR is a little bit difficult to describe, but the developer describes it as a town building toy, but it is so much more than that. You do have very limited tools, and this game has been out on PC for a while, so if you want to see some people's creations with this, it'll blow away your mind, especially when you first start out and you think, wow, this is very limited. I don't really have a whole lot of control over the design, but you can get very creative. This is one of those games where you just sit back and just let the game do most of the heavy lifting, but you definitely guide the game to where you want it to go. So obviously one thing you can do is you can set the foundation to whatever you want. One thing that you should know, it doesn't actually put like a level foundation out there. It ends up being curved, and it gives it like a very special feel to this building. You're not trying to make perfect buildings. You're not trying to make perfect foundations. It's one of those games with happy accidents where you guide the game where you want it to go, but you also let accidents happen. You experiment and you eventually figure out, okay, this is how I control what I want this to look like. So you might have an idea of what you want to build, but as you're building, it inevitably changes and you kind of just go with the flow. It makes playing this game almost zen-like. It is very chill, it's very relaxing, and at the same time, you're an artist, even though it's very easy to build something beautiful, and that is the magic of this game. You don't have to be an architect. You don't have to be a talented artist. Almost anything you build will look good, and there are so many variations to what you can do to make each creation your own. Townscaper VR is running on the Unity engine. On the Meta Quest 2, I had absolutely no troubles, no issues whatsoever. The game seems pretty polished, and I have played the PC version on Steam, and it's pretty much a one-to-one translation. About the only differences that I could spot was that you're not able to copy to clipboard, and you cannot export to OBJ, but everything else is pretty much there. I did find that building here is much easier than PC, and just the controls are very intuitive. Probably the most difficult thing here is just changing colors. I think it might be a little bit easier on PC as far as that goes, but everything else is so much easier here, and that is because of the VR controls. So the VR controls here are very intuitive. You can press on your grab buttons and you can expand the world or shrink it. So if you shrink it, obviously it's easier to move around, but obviously the world becomes tinier. Or you can expand the world. Obviously you'll get a bigger view of the world, but you'll move slower within it. You can also use both grab buttons and twist your arms in order to turn around. So it's very easy to get whatever view you want of your creation. So here the controls are super easy, much better than PC, although you do get used to PC. It's not like the PC controls are difficult, but it's just more intuitive, more immersive in VR because it's just so easy to move around and put things right where you want, and it's just so easy to resize the world that you can be very precise in your creations without much fuss. Those of you who already own this game, whether on PC or on mobile, might be wondering if it's worth it to get this in VR. And that is a tough question to answer because this is basically the same game. So this is mostly a one-to-one translation. Like I said, the differences here are very minor. The biggest reason to get this in VR is for the motion controls, which again, it makes building easier in my opinion and more immersive. And for the 3D view, immersive view of this little world that you're building. Obviously, the visuals here look fantastic in VR. This is one of those games that on PC looks good, but when you add VR to it, it just makes it all that much better. And they did a really good job of translating this to the Quest. And I would say I really couldn't tell you the difference visually other than this is now in full 3D and you're fully immersed in the world. For me, that's totally worth it. Like I said, I already own this on Steam, but when I found out it was coming to VR, well, I just had to get it. And even though that means I have to buy it again, I think it's totally worth it. I do wish the price was the same as PC. I'm not sure why they increased the price from the normal $7 price tag to $10, but it's not that big of a difference. And if it helps the developer make a VR product, then I'm willing to pay the premium price. And I hope more developers do this, except also bring it to the PC VR. Bring it to the Steam store, not just the Quest. And this is one of those games that's very difficult to score because this game is definitely not for everyone. Like I mentioned, there is no actual game here. It's more like an app. If you want to call it a relaxation app, then go ahead and call it that. If you want to call it an artistic tool, you can call it that as well. But what it is, it's just a very chill experience. And your enjoyment of this will vary a lot depending on your expectations and if this is a type of gameplay that appeals to you. I absolutely enjoyed my time playing Townscaper VR, and I totally think it was worth the $10. Obviously, there's lots of improvements that can be made to this experience. I would definitely like to see more toys, more building blocks that we can select, maybe manually. Like one thing I would really like to do is the ability to add like trees manually, maybe like the ability to add little people on there so you could show them like walking from one place to another, maybe the ability to use a paintbrush so you could put your own little artistic brushes to these buildings. And it would be awesome if we could teleport into our own creations, basically a street view of these worlds. Maybe we can even fly around. Again, eye level, so we could see and enjoy our world from a eye level view or street level view. That would be awesome. Also, the ability to listen to our own music. I think that would add an extra enjoyment to this game, or at least the ability to listen and maybe watch YouTube videos while we're playing this game. Again, it's all about getting into that Zen mode, and that would help out a lot. There's lots of other games that have this ability, and I think that addition would really increase the enjoyment for this game and definitely increase the time I would spend on this game if I could listen to my musical preferences and maybe even watch some music videos while I'm creating, to get into that artistic vibe. And so we're going to come down to my score for this game. I was really hoping not to give it a score because, again, enjoyment will vary in this game. This is one of those games where I think you either love it or you don't, and it's just that simple. But if I have to score it, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think there are enough missing features here that I can't score it higher than a 7.5 out of 10. But the core gameplay is fun, it's chill, it's super relaxing, and it's one of the few games where you don't need any artistic talent whatsoever to create something beautiful. and there's something to be said about that. So anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. If you enjoyed my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video.